Hello, everybody. Welcome to this new session of LCP University. Today, we are going to talk about how to track operations. This is the topic of today, and this is Santi, your MCP customer experience for youth. I will be your fuzzy today, and the main objectives of this space will be to understand how to track operations, and we are going to go in deep in this theory of 40x of lead and lag measures. So we will understand how through this theory we are going to influence our operations. Then we are going to understand a little bit better the operations routines, and of course, in order to talk about products, we need to understand what are the basics about the products. So we are going to review them quickly. So in order to understand and start this session, I wanted to recap a little bit one session that we did in NPM. So if you were there, probably you will remember this session that we talk about what is the LCP role for operations, and we saw this graphic that is like describing what is the cycle of an LCP for operations. So the first thing that you as LCP need to do with your LCP's operations is to track them, is to basically measure what are the results that they are having. Then the second step is to start asking questions. You need to, through these questions, try to understand what is the bottleneck that the operation is having, and what is that thing that is stopping the operation. Then, based on these questions, you need to take decisions. You need to see what are the things that you are going to change or you are going to propose to change in order to solve this bottleneck and start and make your operation grow. And of course, after this you need to act upon it and give it follow up to all the actions that you will implement. And then you need to again track what is the result that these changes and these actions are having, and based on this, understand again what are the bottlenecks that your operation can be facing. So basically, this is the cycle that you need to implement. But in order to track your operations and in order to measure this, you need to understand. And what you need to understand, basically, what is the operation about and what are the main things that define the how the operation work. So, in order to advance, we are going to see quickly what are the product basics that you need to have clear. We are not going to go in deep, but we're going just to mention them, and later you can look for more information, more specifically, about all these things. So the first thing that you need to have clear, and you need to be able to identify very, very clear, is the value proposition of each product. So the value proposition is this added value that all products are giving you when you live one of those experiences. And it's very important to understand what is the difference between one value proposition and another, because there is where the differentiation of the product is. So the value proposition also is important to know, because based on the value proposition, we are going to identify what is the target or the focus target that the operation need to have. Um, in terms of public, for example, because it's telling you what you are going to receive if you live one of these experiences, and we need to sell these experiences to the people that is looking for it. So it's very important to know it. Also, the value proposition can define what will be the channel that you will use in order to communicate this product. Also, it will define the message that you are going to send, because you need to catch the attention of the a specific of a specific um, target or segment. So you need to understand what is this person looking for. Then you have the customer flow. Most probably you will know this, but it's very important to have it very clear and being able to communicate it in a easy way. So basically, the customer flow is the process that a person goes through when want to live an ISC experience. We have four phases in the customer flow that are attraction, consideration, value delivery, and brand advocacy. And inside those phases, you have different statuses that a person can have when the person is advancing in this customer flow and is in the process of becoming a customer of ISEC. It's important to know this because this is how the operation works, and depending on which stage of the customer flow a person is, you will have different activities to implement in each case. Then you have different things or that you also need to know in terms of product basics. And the first, I will say one of the most important things that you need to know and you need to use, you need to be very aware of, is the operational timeline of your operation. What is the operational timeline? Is the moment of the time that this operation need to happen, or the moment in the time that each phase of the customer flow need to happen. And is basically the behavior of the operation at global level or at regional level. Operational timeline is something that we cannot influence that much because it's something that is influenceable and it's like confirmed by all the people that in ISEC in the world that is working with this specific operation. So, in this operational timeline, we are going to have a peak of realizations, for example, that is the moment of the time that we are going to have most of the realizations of the operation. And then we are going to have a peak of approvals, for example, or a peak of consideration. That will be the moment and the time in which all the people in ISA will be focusing in approving all the opportunities that they have and all the EPs that they have. Of course, in order to have EPs, we are going to need, also a peak of attraction, a peak of activities that we are going to implement in order to attract the people that we need to attract. And it's very important because if we generate these peaks, for example, in a incorrect timeline, we can have a lot of problems when, for example, if we have a peak of attraction late in the operational timeline of OGB, for example, or GB, we maybe will face a lot of issues in approving these people because probably we won't have enough opportunities to all the people that we attract. So that's why it's very important to understand what is the moment of the time that we need to attract the people, the moment on the time we need to approve these people, and the moment in the time in which we need to realize these people. So this is one of the main things that is very important to know. You need to be very aware of in order to track your operations properly.